What is up, everyone? Welcome to episode 39 of Dead with My Friends podcast. I am your co-host, Steve.
And I'm your co-host, Nick.
And on this episode, we are going to be covering the Ted Raimi early 90s slasher, Skinner.
Dude, good pick on this movie, man. Some good 1993 sleaze.
Yeah.
Some straight-to-video sleaze. I love it. Yeah, man, Ted Raimi, Skinner.
Dude, what a fucking guy. I mean, so I had picked this Severin release here that we both have. I picked it up on like a Severin sale sometime, I think, during like the pandemic. And, you know, it's Ted Raimi, and I had seen like the trailer, and I was just like, yeah, I want to check this out. And I'd watched it once before, back when I was living at my mom and husband's house, but it was on the, as we jokingly say, the Michael Scott TV.
Yeah.
Where that 13-inch flat screen.
Your plasma screen.
Yeah, my plasma screen.
So you watched it streaming then?
No, I'd watched it on my Blu-ray player in there.
Okay.
And I just it was just kind of like a quick view. And now that I have this 56-inch, 4K flat screen in our living room, I threw it on again because I was like, let me watch this again. And it was like a whole new experience.
Nice. Yeah.
And
I
it
love
made
that.
it made me want to cover this. I was like, yo, this movie, I fucking love this shit. Like, this is really underrated. I feel like no one really talks about it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's incredibly underrated, and this was definitely, I bought this from a recommendation from you during one of the sales. Just probably like, hey, like what's cool to grab, from Severin, and you're like, yo, Skinner, and obviously Ted Raimi's in it. Ricki Lake and Traci Lords are in it as well.
Yeah, they're coming off a Crybaby a couple of years before that.
Yeah,
so it's just
working together.
Yeah.
So very, just interesting, those three all together, but it works very, very, very well. They're all really good in this movie. But yeah, as far as you talking about, watching it on your Michael Scott plasma screen, your 15-inch TV, whatever, and then watching it on your new 4K. This is Severin Films. This is the first time that this has ever been on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
Because for the longest time, this was considered a lost film, and it only existed on VHS. Nobody knew where the prints were. Nobody knew where anything was. It just got lost in time. But thankfully, Severin Films, I guess, obtained the original camera negatives. There's a whole story about that. And, for the first time ever, this is scanned. It's a 4K scan. So it looks great. And yeah, man, this is a good flick, man. I really enjoyed it. We said it a million times. Ted Raimi, brilliant character actor. He plays main character Dennis Skinner in this film, who is essentially Ed Gein.
Yeah, he's like Ed Gein meets Jack the Ripper with murdering of the prostitutes.
Yeah,
on the streets of LA. Like it's like the combined two, and man, it's just like, again, you say character actor, and he just goes all in on this character as Dennis Skinner, and he's so fucking unhinged. I had recommended this movie to someone at work who also collects, and when I told him as we were speaking, he was like, just bought.
Oh yeah?
He's like, I trust your word, just bought.
Yeah. You got that way about you, Steven. You recommend a movie, I'm like, all right, if Steven says it's good, I'm gonna fucking grab it, as long as it's not like
when we ran
doll
into
of flesh or some shit,
Yeah, well, no, that's an
pig.
acquired taste. But
Right.
When we were at Dark Side Records a few weekends ago, we ran into my friend Jay and Dan, and I was like, Dan, he collects a lot of horror movies. Jay collects some too. But I was like, what they had in their movie section, I was just like, yo, Dan, you got to check this out. You got to check this out,
They had a
because
good movie section?
they had like some Vinegar Syndromes. They had a couple of TerraVision releases, MVD, Arrow,
All right.
a decent selection, like some shit on VHS too. I picked up this gory anime from like the early 2000s called Elfen Lied. Picked up the whole box set DVD mint disc, so I was like, fuck yeah, that's a score. But we mostly grabbed records that day.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
But Ted Raimi was the selling point for
for me, like Ted Raimi was the selling point, because it was like I enjoyed like obviously like him in Evil Dead 2 as like the seller fucking deadite fucking witch woman, well, not witch, but you know what I mean, like for the fruit seller. And like, I just remember he was in the beginning of Candyman as Billy the boyfriend, where they're telling like the whole story. And I was like, this is like a leading role of his, and I want to see like really what he can do. And just like, that trailer just kind of grabbed me. I missed out on the slip at the time, but I was like, I caught it for a decent sale price during the pandemic, like I mentioned before. And like when I watched it, like I did enjoy it. It's just like, again, viewing movies on that TV, like that was kind of like, eh. But like, again, watching it on like this bigger TV, I was like, fuck, this movie is awesome.
Yeah,
like,
you developed a new, like you said, a new appreciation for it.
Yeah,
Man,
and like the soundtrack really just pulls me in. Like we appreciate some industrial fucking music because like we grew up in the '90s, and like obviously like you're a huge Nine Inch Nails fan. I like Nine Inch Nails, and like the band Contagion with the song "Hate" that's used in this movie and on the menu screen. Like, bro, ever since like I found like the song on Spotify, I've been listening to it nonstop since we watched the movie.
I listened to whatever they had on Spotify. I've just been bumping it since we discovered it. And like even when I was on the menu, I was like I really like this song. All right.
So
cool.
when I put it on, Chris and I were obviously like watching it together, but like I was just letting the menu go because I was like brewing our coffee and shit. And then as I'm like waiting for our coffee to finish, like to the song, I do the "Here Comes Randall" dance from fucking Clerks. Fucking broke her. Because it fits so perfectly with the song.
Yeah, no, it does. Contagion's great, man. Industrial band from the 90s. I think that they're still actually going strong as well.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah, I think that they're still doing it. Yeah, man, I like them a lot. It added so much to the eerie atmosphere of the movie at times,
Yeah. Yeah, and I love like the whole setting of like on the streets of LA with like the genuine graffiti and just like the alleyways and like, where a prostitute would hang out.
It was the perfect setting and the perfect depiction of like urban decay in the 1990s in Los Angeles,
Yeah.
I liked that it was on that side of the US. It would have had a Maniac feel, possibly, had it been set in New York, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Those are the only two places that I could really like see this kind of shit going on. So I'm glad.
Or like Detroit. Detroit would have been a good location
or Chicago.
Too. Yeah.
Initially, this was supposed to be it was supposed to be set in England because the writer, he's British.
And he was shopping around for like his scripts, and I remember in the extras, like he talks about like taking it to Hammer Studios, and they were like, absolutely not, we cannot put out this trash. And he's like, and he laughed at that comment because he's like, that's what you guys were doing in the 50s, was doing shit that like no one was really putting out, because like the early Hammer films, like for its time, were pretty shocking. So he's like, what changed now?
I mean, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I don't even really know per se how this would fit with Hammer.
Yeah. In the grand scheme of things.
In the grand scheme, I don't really think
and the final product,
Right. But then again, it's like he also Paul Hart Walden, I think is his last name. He had like every intention on directing this film. So he wrote it and he directed it, and then he was having a very hard time in England, UK, whatever, over there trying to get it sold. Nobody wanted to buy it. Nobody liked the material. And like you said, he went to Hammer, which is probably like the biggest horror film production company of the time in the UK. And yeah, they're like, no, don't want it. So then he ended up meeting a movie producer in the United States, and he told him, yeah, I can make this movie under one condition. I have a director, Ivan Nagy. He's going to direct it, and you're the writer, and if you want it to be made, this is how it's got to be. So all these fucking doors for him were being shut. So he's like, the only way that I'm going to end up getting this movie made is if I go with this deal. So he ended up going with it, and Ivan Nagy, Hungarian director, made the film, and very interesting individual, I gotta say. You know anything about him?
No, not really.
All right, so this guy's cool. Yeah, he's cool. He's interesting. So he's a Hungarian refugee. Okay, he came here and he became a photographer, and he won Grammys for album art photography, right? So he would shoot photos for musicians, creating album art. Then he wanted to transition into filmmaking. He did TV shows, and then he did the movie of the week type shit, and then he transitioned into making films. So he did a couple of films, and then he ended up getting Skinner, ended up making Skinner. But his real claim to fame was that he was involved in this fucking scandal in the 90s with the Hollywood madame named Heidi Fleiss. Have you ever heard of her?
I have not heard of her, but is that where the character Heidi gets her name from in this movie?
It's possible, because I listened to the editor, one of the many editors, I guess the dude that finally did the final cut of it. He talked about that. I'll get to that in a second. But yes, I do think so. So Heidi Fleiss was this madame in the 1990s, and she was like the madame for the stars. So she ran a prostitution business out of Los Angeles, and she was supplying prostitutes to all these high profile, high powerful people. And it was like a huge fucking scandal in the 90s. And he was her boyfriend, and he was essentially her pimp. And then this is what this derailed his career totally. He said after the Heidi Fleiss shit, nobody wanted to work with me. He was blacklisted. And then he was like, all right, you can't beat him, join him. He opened up his own production company called Mac Daddy Productions, and then he went on to make porno.
Mac Daddy
yeah,
Productions.
Mac Daddy. And then he became a porno director.
So was this after Skinner or before?
The scandal happened after Skinner.
Oh, okay.
But from the way that it seems is that he might have been like subtly putting in his problems and his issues with his girlfriend Heidi at the time in this film, possibly by naming, Traci Lord's character. I can see it now,
especially with like the prostitution involvement too.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. It's all turning.
Yeah.
Making sense. So yeah, Ivan Nagy, very interesting guy, man. I know that you said that you were watching the special features and you got bored by, his feature when he was like talking. And I won't lie, I did too. And I was about to turn it off, and then they were like, so what changed in your career? And he's like dating Heidi Fleiss, and I was like, what? I knew all about it.
You've heard about that name before then?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay, see, I never knew about the lore of her. So, okay.
Very famous. Yeah, man.
Okay.
She shook Hollywood, man.
Wow.
Yeah,
all right.
For sure. It was a huge scandal. So he was involved in it. I can't believe this director was involved in something like that high profile. But
interesting.
Yeah, so that's Ivan Nagy for you. So he passed away in 2015. But the editor, actually, I can't recall his name, but he has a really good segment in the special features when he's talking about meeting Ivan Nagy. And this movie was kind of like troubled, man. Like in the post production, it ended up just going through a series of editors that weren't doing a good job. There was missing pieces of the film reels that were just in different labs, and it was just all fucked up. And then it was just like through just like with everything else, like around that time, studios would pick it up, the movie would sit for a while, and then companies would get sold and then bought out, and then prints would get lost and shit. And ultimately the editor had ended up getting the job, and then one of his jobs was to piece together everything, go find it all, this is where it might be, go check it out. So he's like, all right. He started assembling everything, and then he was like, we have some very important shit that's like missing, like effects, like close-up shots of Ted, or close-up shots of effects and things. And it turned out that Ivan had them, and whatever production company picked it up to try to finish the film told him, you got to go get them from him. And he was really nervous about it, because he was like, this is a high-profile guy, he's sleazy, he's scary, whatever. But he said he ended up going there, he ended up sitting down with him, talking, said he was very nice, very sweet, very warm, welcoming guy. And they smoked some pot together, and he said it was great. I gave him a suitcase full of money, however much, I don't know. But he ended up giving me whatever print elements I needed, and then he assembled the cut. But it was just, yeah. And then after that, print was lost.
Well, thankfully, the people at Severin, they do their research, they do their digging, and they unearth this.
That is very true when it comes to Severin Films. But the writer actually was the one who kind of put this whole thing in motion with trying to find the print. Yeah, I mean, dude, this was his movie. He wanted to make it. He wanted to direct it. And I mean, I think he said he probably only saw like one early cut of it. He never saw a final cut of it. He just wasn't really happy with the end result. It wasn't like true to his vision. I could totally understand that. But yeah, man, for like a decade or so, he said that, he's just been calling every lab that he can. He's just been following all the breadcrumbs as far as like where the movie could have been. They ended up finding a print of it, and it turned out being a work print of it, and then it didn't have any audio. And then, long story short, it turned up in like a storage locker from like the original production company's owner had it stored there, and then they end up finding it, and then I guess he must have reached out to Severin Films, whoever. Definitely the right people to go to for this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then they made this shit happen.
Yeah. Well, I'm thankful that they made the impossible happen, because it seemed like quite the task.
It definitely did, man. So yeah, no, I'm grateful that we do have it. So that's a little history on Skinner.
Yeah. Well, thanks for dropping all that lore on us.
Oh, no problem.
I watched the skinning outtakes too over the band Contagion. That was sick. The trailer, I gotta find out like what band does the trailer, because it sounds like an early like hardcore band.
Oh shit, I didn't even
yeah,
I didn't.
It's got the timestamp on it too, so it's like a really rough trailer. But
yeah, you see though, like that was probably just from like a work print or something. They just worked with whatever they could,
Yeah. What do you think? Do you think it's time to get into the plot, or do you want to talk more about the cast? I mean, like I said, we mentioned it's got Traci Lords and Ricki Lake, who just did Crybaby a couple of years before. Ricki Lake had not gotten her start yet on our talk show, which would dominate the mid to late 90s. So, you had a young cast of characters. Like I know like Ted said in his interview, like it was like a young production.
Yeah, he said that it almost kind of felt like
a college movie.
Like a college movie, like a film school movie, Yeah. No, I like that a lot. Dude, it's a good cast, It was a bit random, I feel, like I was kind of like I forgot that, Ricki Lake did do acting. But I was like kind of more so shocked that she did a movie like this.
Yeah, yeah. Like obviously we could see like Crybaby. I mean, it's got Johnny
Right.
Depp.
Or
It's got a bunch of like,
hairspray, whatever,
yeah.
so.
But this is just like, okay, all right,
And
you
Traci
know.
Lords, man, like, I know that she started out doing porn. Like, she was a porno actress.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I just know like, again, Crybaby and shit. But
Yeah, she
like,
was in Resident Evil, I think, or Blade.
yeah,
She was in
Blade.
Blade. Yeah, my
Yep.
bad. I got
Yep.
that confused. She was in Blade. She was in Crybaby. Yeah, and then prior to that, she was doing porn. But then she successfully transitioned into being like a legitimate actress. Kind of like what was the chick's name in Rabid? Was that Marilyn Chambers? She was a porno actress.
I think so. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, she was she was adult film star.
Yep.
Definitely good cast, man. I like the Heidi character a lot.
Dude, the Heidi character and the dentist, they're like kind of parallel characters too, which is like, Heidi is like she's the surviving victim of Dennis Skinner, but now she's tracking him down. And like Dennis Skinner, again, we mentioned the kind of killer he is like Ed Gein meets the like Jack the Ripper, and it's cool to see their characters parallel because they're so alike in many ways. I feel like, Dennis Skinner, he's got the bag of knives and she's got the suitcase of syringes.
Yeah, what do you think that is? Like morphine or something?
I think like
some kind of
she's
injecting.
Killer? Yeah, she's like getting high off the morphine, and then she's also got like lethal dosages to kill Dennis Skinner with.
Yeah. You've become so predictable, Skinner.
And what's funny too is her character, the way she's dressed. Do you remember the 90s cartoon Carmen Sandiego, the female inspector?
Yeah, I didn't think that's what you were going to say, but like I know exactly.
Yeah, dude, the way she's
got like the big hat.
That's got, covering like, half her face.
Trench coat.
Yeah.
And she's got her hair in her face. She's got a limp. She's got gloves on, everything. She talks like very, very slow and,
Yeah.
I like her. I liked her a lot.
No,
man.
she's a good character, and she's who we open up with. We get this little monologue about her like tracking down Dennis Skinner, and then we get to Dennis Skinner, and the whole like the themes of the water too.
Yeah, the motif and the themes of the water. I picked up on that more or less like the second time around when I was watching it. I'm like, what exactly? It's there for a reason. Like, what exactly could it be? And hearing the writer talk about it, he said that the idea about it is water has no shape. What is the shape of water?
It becomes what you put it in.
It becomes what you put it in, and he's like, it's kind of like a metaphor for what Dennis and who Dennis is, because he has to fit himself into whatever he needs.
Skin he's wearing, yeah.
Could be skin, could be
this happy-go-lucky guy.
Whoever you need him to be, whatever he needs to be unassuming. You know? And that's the thing about Ted Raimi playing this character so well is he even said, he could have played it like a psychopath, sociopath, but he went like a psychopath because psychopaths don't really know that they're fucked up. Like a sociopath does, but he's charming and unassuming and just totally fucked up in the head. Like he thinks like what he's doing is right in a way,
Yeah.
It's not even more so that like, I don't know. Do you think like he's killing for fun, a need, or just to some urge, or
that, and to kind of just maybe fit into like maybe he's uncomfortable in his own skin, so like wearing his victim's skin gives him more comfort, and we'll dive more into that. I think right now we should do a little plot breakdown, hit that trailer, and then dive more into this.
All right, sounds good, man. So I will read the synopsis and then we'll go from there. Ready? So Skinner, 1993. Dennis Skinner, played by Ted Raimi, is a seemingly mild-mannered man hiding a dark secret. By night, he murders and flays his victims, wearing their skin in gruesome rituals. Renting a room from a lonely woman, Ricki Lake, he tries to maintain a normal life, but his urges grow uncontrollable. Meanwhile, Heidi, Traci Lords, a disfigured survivor of his attacks, hunts him down for revenge, leading to a brutal showdown.
When you're ready.
You've become so predictable. It's the beginning of the end, Skinner.
Who are you? What are you doing here?
I'm looking for Dennis Skinner.
What are you talking about?
I've been hunting him for 5 years. And I don't suppose I was the first. This is what he did to me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to frighten you. The door was open, so I came right in.
Can I help you?
Yes, I saw the sign in the shop window down the street. Said you had a room to rent?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it is. Hi, I'm Carrie Tate.
Dennis Skinner.
The gun's not kinky.
Deep inside the killer's head is a special kind of love. That desire so intense, it goes way beyond skin deep. Dennis Skinner is on a mission of his own, so horrible, so vengeful, it will make your skin crawl.
Everything's just fine.
So the movie opens up like you had mentioned before, with a monologue of Heidi speaking about Dennis Skinner, and you can tell that she has it in for him. She's seeking revenge on him. She's saying that he's predictable.
Yeah, he's got like a pattern. He always returns to like.
Yep. You know, we have the motif of the water because he's like walking around like this like really graffitied up LA river and just like feeling the water and everything like that. So he's got like some connection, whatever, to it. And then he makes his way to a house where Ricki Lake and her husband own, and they're trying to make ends meet because he's out driving trucks, her husband. So they end up renting a room to Dennis, and you know that's where he's gonna call home for the time being.
Set up shop, you know.
Yeah, he says it's a safe room and he likes it and he enjoys it. So
yeah, and then you know, Heidi's character, she sets up shop at some skeevy hotel, something out of like Basket Case or a Frank Henenlotter film.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
where my mind was going with
yeah,
that.
where they're like the clerk guy, he's kind of like, what the fuck's your deal and shit, you know, pulls out all this money. He's like, that's not a good idea around these parts, but you know, once you enter through those doors, you're totally safe.
Yeah. And then she goes up to her room and then she takes her gloves off and we see that like the left side of her body is, to me at first, before I'd seen anything, I thought that she was burned because it looks like burns. But then...
Dude. Yeah, because like, yo, real quick, like, so this is KMB Studios doing the effects, and like, the scarring looks like burned Michael scarring from like Halloween 4 and 5.
Yep.
Which KMB did on 5.
Yep.
It looks just like it.
Yeah, so I wasn't like really sure because, dude, I didn't see a trailer to this before I'd seen this movie. You know, the first time I watched it, was the first time I'd seen anything on it. Right?
Yeah, it was just a blind watch.
It was a blind watch. Yeah. I mean, obviously, like the cover, it's got like the cityscape, and then you have like the killer right there, or whatever. You know, it really gave me like New York Ripper vibe, Maniac vibes. You know, just based off of the cover. So I thought like that's kind of where it was going. And then I'd seen the arm, her arm. It looked burned. I'm like, is she a burn victim or something? Or and then she like injects herself with, you know, what we think is probably like morphine or a painkiller or something like that, because she's in a lot of pain. And, you know, that's more than likely why she talks so low as she does. And she's got a limp and everything, you know, because her leg's also fucked up. There comes a point where Dennis gets a job at like some kind of warehouse as a janitor. And that's where he ends up finding like his kill room, kind of, you know, where
he's
gonna also set up shop now.
Yeah,
you know?
he's got this like hidden compartment area in the warehouse where he's like some of the victims, like he essentially like kills them like on the streets, or like at the one prostitute's like apartment where he first wears like the skin, because he ties her up and she's like, oh, you like hinky stuff, huh? And he's like, close your eyes. And he comes out of the bathroom and we see these like women hands like choking this prostitute, and it's just like,
I didn't know what that
was. Speaking like a woman.
Yeah, he's like, I told you not to open your eyes when I'm getting dressed, you bitch.
Yeah, it's great, dude.
But he when he picks that prostitute up, so she was the first kill. So he goes to pick her up, and he finds her in like the factory area wherever all the prostitutes and stuff are, picks her up, and then did you catch that he asks, can I call you Carrie? Who's also, that's the name of Ricki Lake's character.
Oh, Ricki, yeah, that's right, yeah.
So he's like living out some kind of fantasy now where, you know, I guess he's killing her or whatever. So yeah, but you don't see initially, you only see the hands. You only see like these fucking
the hands, and you hear like the woman's voice that he's trying to do.
And then when he's walking out, you see in the shadow, you see like hair and everything like that, and it's very creepy. I'm gonna tell you just straight up, man. Skin suits don't settle with me at all, bro. They scare me, man.
Yo, I agree, because like when he wears the skin of his coworker that, you know, is bullying him, the dude that's bullshitting Earl fight Tyson. Yo, when he's chasing that one prostitute, well, we don't even know if she's a prostitute, because she's just a girl that gets into a fight with this dude and just like,
and he just like kicks her out of the car.
Yeah,
it could have been, probably
could have been.
He probably didn't want to pay, whatever.
Yeah, but when he's chasing her wearing Earl's skin, that shit is terrifying.
Yeah, it really is.
It's fucking terrifying.
That's an interesting scene. That's a standout scene, you know.
Yeah,
for, like,
it doesn't age well with the accent that he's doing.
No, not at all. And nobody liked it either. You know, maybe Ivan liked it. He was the one that put it in, because the writer said that they didn't switch up anything really of the script other than adding in the Earl scene. So Earl is, you know, one of the coworkers, the new coworkers of Dennis Skinner, and they have a bit of an interaction. You know, Dennis is being nice. He's, you know, whatever.
He's called a Cashire cat because he's always smiling.
Yeah, he's always
happy
smiling
about something.
And then Earl says to him, he's like, I've seen people like you know, at the institution. You smile like a loon, like, and that doesn't go over well with.
Yeah, he's like, you know what they say about people with bad haircuts?
Yep.
And then that's when Earl's like, yo, what? You want to square up, man?
Yep.
Like,
and then he's like, keeps on
up.
talking about, I could have beat Tyson. So then that scene ends, and then it cuts, and then we hear like screams in the factory. And then, we have the scene when Ted Raimi puts on Earl's skin, and he's wearing the skin of Earl's an African-American. Might as well just put that out there.
Yeah.
So, puts the skin on, and then he starts chasing that chick, and then he's like mimicking him and mocking him, you know, and speaking like a real cliche.
Yeah, very stereotyped
very
kind
stereotypical,
of voice. Does not
voice.
age well whatsoever.
No, so the writer didn't like that scene, and Ted Raimi did not like that scene. And
which I totally get.
Yeah.
That must have been difficult to do, knowing like, yo, this is fucked up. Like,
It couldn't be done in today's day and age.
no,
at
definitely
all.
not. But I will say, terrifying. Though.
Terrifying.
The image. If I saw something like that, someone wearing like, oh my god, dude, it is so unsettling to see when he's chasing that woman. Like, that shit is straight up nightmare fuel. That shit is fucking terrifying.
That's why the Texas Chainsaw Massacre works so well, because it's...
Yeah.
I mean, this is different. This isn't like a mask. He's like wearing a full fucking body,
suit,
you know?
And like when we
and it's like very crude too, you know? It's not like really that well put together. You know, there's like areas that are exposed, and like it just adds to it more, you know, adds to the creepy factor of it more, that he's like not perfecting doing it, you know?
You know, like in the beginning with the first few kills, we just get like his first victim, the girl with the black hair, not the one he takes into the hotel and puts like the gloves on, but like that, we don't really see her get killed, but we see like her chained up and shit, and like we get these crazy like 90s edits, the quick, almost like in Halloween 6, the quick like
Halloween
scream,
6. Yeah.
The quick like flash fucking edits and the scream that, you know. So we're like, okay, like she's dead. And we see like the knife going against the skin, but that's it. But then we like go back to, I think either her or like, no. Okay. So it's the prostitute that Traci Lord's character, Heidi, tries to save when she has her first one-on-one interaction with or encounter with Dennis Skinner.
Yeah.
Is when we finally get to see like him in his kill room in the warehouse.
Yeah, and then we see like him actually killing and skinning the victim.
Yes.
Because they don't do it right away, which I'm happy that they didn't do that right away, that they didn't show. They waited a while. You know, they established everything, you know. They did that, you know, very well. They did the quick cuts. I think that might have happened. So, yeah, it was the first kill. It's implied that she's killed because of the way that it was edited. And then the second one's with the hand with the glove, or the skin glove. You're like, all right, she's definitely dead. And then he takes on the one girl that he's like chasing around, meets with Traci Lords, and she tries to take him out. She tries to confront him and everything. And I really like the way he acts during this time. He remembers, he's like, Heidi, he's like, don't you know, like, you know, I don't like to be messed with, everything like that. And you know, he ends up like knocking her out.
Yeah. And then taking the victim, because at first he like cuts her against the throat, but like doesn't kill her. You know, fucking Heidi's like comforting her, and like, it's gonna be okay
because she interrupted him while he was doing it, and he runs away.
He comes right back around and knocks her out.
With
yeah,
her
it's so
own
funny.
with her own bag.
Yeah, and then that's where he takes that woman back to the kill shop, and what we get to see the true skinning, which again the KMB effects, phenomenal.
And the lighting, which we talked about.
Oh,
you know,
dude, the blues
and the greens.
shit. And the greens, yeah. It's
so
fucking sick.
I like the contrast in that, right? So it's like when he's doing his thing, that's when we get like that moody, weird lighting that we like. And then, you know, when it's normal, when he's at home, it's, you know, either, you know, moonlight or just like regular lighting, you know. So it's like, I like that contrast, you know, like I like the way that they did that. But when he's killing his first victim, we get to know more about who Dennis Skinner is, because he's telling her more or less like why he does what he does.
Well, that wasn't his first victim. That was the victim that
that's what
Heidi
I meant.
tried to save. Yeah,
that's what I meant. The first victim that we see being.
Yeah,
that's what I meant.
We get this whole backstory of like how Dennis Skinner's father performed the postmortem, like whatever process on his dead mother, and Dennis's father at the age of 6 made him watch it, and this is where like it explains why he's so fucked up. But then, you know, he explains, I was sick to my stomach, but then I snuck back down and pulled my mother's face off and saw how easily it came off, looked in the mirror and put it on. So we get like this great backstory of why he is as fucked up as he is.
I guess a product of his environment. His dad was fucked up.
And I love how he's just like talking to the body and giving it, telling his story and shit. And just the way he like pulls the skin off easily.
I like when he pulls the face off.
Yes, dude. That shit is crazy looking. Again, KMB effects just coming in like so good. This shit looked great.
Yeah, no, it did. But I mean, as sleazy and violent as the movie is, that's like the only time we see the full skinning, right?
Yeah, that's the only time. But it's enough. Yeah, as someone who loves like, splatter films and gore, like that scene is like really all you need because it shows everything that you want to see.
Right, just the right amount, because
Yeah.
they easily could have overdid it, easily could have underdid it. Because I think that there's an R-rated cut. There's like another version of this where it's like that's like all cut out, whatever. So it's like the version that we watched. This is the unrated full whatever,
Chef's kiss.
right? We like a good unrated cut.
Yes, we do.
So yeah, it was like the perfect amount of gore, of the killing.
While giving his backstory, it all works like so well.
Yeah, that's good writing.
Yeah. And going back to also like, what is it, Carrie, Ricki Lake's character, like, her husband isn't thrilled about another man living in the house, but they need the money. And it's funny because like every night that like Ted Raimi returns back to home, you find him outside of Carrie's door, like fighting off impulses because he wants to like kill her, but also has like some kind of attraction because they have some like intimate moments where clearly he could see that the husband is like just neglecting her and just focusing on his work and not really showing some love.
Yeah, she's lonely for sure.
She's lonely, she's vulnerable, and he's taking full advantage of that. I find it very gross though when he's showing her how to skin the chicken.
Oh yeah.
First of all, Chris and I, we're fucking germaphobes. The knife drops on the floor. He picks it up and fillets it for her. And he's like opening the breast and the skin. And then they start slow dancing. I'm like, not once did they wash their hands. That knife is dirty as fuck. They're touching everything. I was like, this whole place is contaminated. And to me, I'm like, that's the horrifying part to me.
The germs.
The germs of the raw chicken everywhere.
Did you catch at that scene the news that was going on when they're talking about bodies being found?
Yeah, briefly, yeah.
Yeah, so they make a mention about how like there's been like a string of killings. You like hear it faintly in the background.
Yeah.
So
and
like
that was probably, I wonder if that was a way to like distract her from the news to slow dance with her.
Interesting. Yeah, maybe. Honestly, I don't even know if he
she catches on to his quirks. I mean, at one point she finds like a bloody towel and he's like, "Oh, I'm a hemophiliac, so I bleed a lot. I just nicked myself, but I bleed a lot. It's fine." But also like the way he's drinking the water and she's, he's talking about it in the glass and she's like, "Yeah, water also runs. Like, shut it off and shit." She
like
notices
the way that the bubbles look. And he like puts the knife under too and he's like watching the water, very fascinated with the water. And then even with like he comes home in the Earl suit too.
Yeah.
In the middle of the night. And he goes up into the bathroom, takes it off, and then he's in the water. And the water is just like covered in blood and everything. And she hears him come home, but her husband's also home at that time. He's got like a night off. But she's like trying to like she likes him, I think. She's like trying to sneak out to see him, whatever. She knew it was him. She knocks on the door, "Hey, are you there?" And he doesn't even answer, but when he comes home in the Earl suit, dude.
You imagine if she like got up to use the bathroom and like, oh my God, just seeing that walking around.
I mean, it ends up happening.
Well, yeah, just with a different suit when he finally like reveals his true self to her, which is again the whole parallels of like him and Heidi's character, where she reveals her true self to Carrie's husband Jeff. Like she exposes, like we know it's a wig, But and I like that they're like, yeah, she's wearing a wig, because if they
Yeah.
tried to pass that off as a regular hair, it's just like, oh, that's such an obvious wig.
You know, I think it's worth mentioning that so in the case of Heidi, you know, when she's at the motel, the fucking the guy that works there is a creep, and he's spying
He's
on
watching her,
you know, through the wall, whatever.
Yeah.
And then he becomes fixated on who she's after. So in the scene when Heidi finds Skinner about to kill that one prostitute, the hotel guy, I forget his name, he's watching from a distance because he's following her.
Yeah, because he's like, what is this guy got that I don't got? Because I'm trying to, you know, sleep with her, but she's fixated on this dude.
Right. So he follows her, but then he also follows Dennis. And then towards, you know, like the third act of the movie, when everything's coming to a head, he forces himself on her more or less under the whole thing of like, I'll give you the information where he is staying if you give me what I want, which is sex or whatever. So, you know, he kind of, you know, starts doing whatever he's doing with her. And, you know, prior to that, Dennis and Ricki Lake actually do have a moment where they get down.
Have sex, yeah.
Yeah, but we don't see it. You know, Dennis finally, you know, ends up coming back home one night after doing whatever he's doing, and I guess he's just like charged up. You know, they're sitting on the couch. She ends up, you know, saying that she's gonna go to bed early. You could tell that she's like really sad, and then he goes into her room butt naked, and then sits down, and then we cut, and then he's talking to himself at the river, and he's like trying to, it's almost like break up with her, you know, where he's like, you know, maybe now's not the right time for us to be together. And he's like, no, that's not good. What? Then he ends up like, you know, I think that I need to show you who my true self is. Yeah. And then he comes home wearing a fucking skin suit. So comes home in the middle of the night, and she's like coming down the stairs. He's going up the stairs. And in the darkness, we see, you know, crazy hair and all this. And then he's like talking to her. And, you know, what do you remember what he says?
I don't remember exactly what he says, but I do remember the unhinged laugh that he does. And it's just so
I love
good.
it.
She's so good.
They meet on the staircase, and she sees that it's like somebody in a, like she just sees something very horrifying in front of her. And then he pulls the mask off. He's covered in blood. And then she screams. And then he screams. And then, you know, they run. And then we cut back to, you know, Traci Lord's hotel room covered in blood.
Yo, she did a fucking number on this dude, because as he's going down on her, she's got the syringe ready. So we know like she's going to do something to him. But man, when we see like that after effect, dude, that guy is fucked up. Rightfully so.
Yeah, rightfully
the fucking
so.
Pig deserves it. But like,
sure.
dude, he is covered in blood. Yo, in a sense, I can't, no, it's kind of better left alone, like what she did to him, because the reveal of him all fucked up like that, they could have just did like, oh, the syringe and okay, he's done. But no, he's crawling out, covered, all fucked up. And that's when she meets up with like the husband Jeff, because he comes home, he finds a note like, sorry, gone, and he's like, this ain't her handwriting. And then, you know, she got Heidi got the information she needed from the dude where, you know, fucking Dennis is staying. And so
and then
she
her and
shows
the
up
husband
there.
meet up, you know, at the house, and Dennis and Carrie aren't there.
Yeah.
So,
and then she reveals her true self and like the whole backstory with like Dennis Skinner and shit. And I almost think there was a bit of a romance there, because she's got a picture of Dennis.
probably.
And it's just like, it's like, how did you get a picture like that? You know, like unless you took it yourself.
Yeah, like they were probably romantic. She may or may not have also been a prostitute. Who knows? We can assume that she was. Maybe she wasn't. Whatever. She was his first victim. I guess that he's been doing it for like 5-6 years or so. He's been doing it for quite some time. I'm just kind of like curious. What do you think? Like, why do you think she survived? Like, do you think like maybe he just wasn't like good at what he was doing? Do you think that he, because she's like half
maybe he
skinned.
was a bit sloppy in the beginning. Yeah, could
Because
have
like
been.
you said, she is wearing a wig, and then she shows her true self to Jeff, pulls the wig off. She's bald, totally bald. Whole left side
Yes,
is
all
totally
fucked up.
skinned up. Yeah. So then we find out the true reason as to like why she is seeking revenge on him, and she asks him, where could he be? And well, he's like, oh, well, he has a job at the factory. So then they hop in his truck, his big rig, and they haul ass over there. And it's kind of like a race against time now because Ricki Carrie is chained up, and we can only assume like she's gonna be the next victim of Dennis.
Yeah, and when Dennis is talking to her, like he's like, "You and Jeff laugh behind my back, don't you?" And like for some reason, and I know this predates From Dusk Till Dawn, but that moment there when he's like asking her if they talk shit behind his back reminds me of Quentin Tarantino's character when he's like badgering the daughter in the RV. Like, do you like me and shit? Like, and just the way he's acting, it just kind of seems like that character.
Well, look at the type of character that Richie
Quentin is. Yeah,
what's his
Richie.
name?
Yeah,
Richie.
Yep.
Richie.
He's got these impulse killings that he can't control. Yeah.
They're similar in the way that like maybe they're the way that they're psychotic.
Yeah, just those mannerisms in that scene really reminded me of Richie from Dusk Till Dawn.
Good parallel. Good comparison right there. I gotta watch that movie. I haven't seen it.
Oh,
I love it.
There was a coworker wearing a titty twister shirt, and I was just like, "Great fucking movie." He's like, "Yo, you know From Dusk Till Dawn?" Because like we don't know each other like that, but I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm a big horror movie guy. That's a great fucking movie." I was like, the best part is that it doesn't turn into a horror movie until like the last like 40 minutes, and they just swerve you with it. But you know what I mean?
Yeah. Fucking that movie deserves a conversation between us.
Oh, absolutely.
How the fuck do we? Yeah. But him asking about her, talking about his paranoid, like psychotic.
So yeah, Jeff and Heidi, they show up, and then Heidi takes out Jeff by injecting him with some shit, and the security guard
morphine shit is,
she injects him because she's like, nah, I'm doing this alone.
Has to
and
be
that's
her.
when the security guard who works with Dennis and Earl, he even asked Dennis like a few scenes earlier if he's seen Earl. He's like, oh, he hasn't been here in days. Like, I checked out his apartment. And, Dennis is like, oh, I'm sure he's around somewhere. He could be right under our noses for all we know.
And then he throws the bag
Yeah.
over, and you're just like, yeah, the body's in the bag.
Yeah.
And he had a guard dog too. So, with that whole Earl scene, he almost gets caught, Dennis, actually,
Yeah.
And then he takes a piece of the arm of Earl's arm and gives it to the dog, and the dog ends up like getting sick.
Yep.
So,
yeah. So then when the security guard finds Jeff, like he somehow like finds, the killing room secret compartment area. But before he gets there, that's when like, again, Heidi and Dennis, they have this confrontation, and they're like dueling with the knives, which is funny. And like, cause like she cuts down Carrie, but like she ain't fully untied. She's just still chained up, but just cut down. And then they're like dueling with knives, and it's so funny because like Dennis is just like fucking with her. I think he just gets a rise out of it, but also annoyed. Like, won't you just go away? You're like the ex that just won't go away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean? Just let me do what I want to do. Let me do what I have to do. I don't like being interrupted. I don't like being bothered.
Yeah.
I don't like when people fuck with my shit.
Yeah, it's really funny, their interactions at times, because like, once they're dueling, and fucking Heidi gives it to him. Like, she gets him a couple times real good with the knife, but then their like duel gets interrupted by the security guard, who just like walks in and sees like Ricki Lake's character chained up and shit, and like all the skin hanging and like guts and shit, and he's like, what the fuck? And just on impulse, he fires at fucking Heidi and shoots her a few times in the back. Meanwhile, Dennis is like, he's got some serious stab wounds, but he could survive.
Doesn't he get shot too? Like,
I think he gets hit once, but not to the point, not as fatal as Traci Lord's character does.
'cause I don't even really know. So
I think he gets like a little flesh wound. He's got a couple of stabs from the knife
Yeah.
fight, and then like gets a flesh wound, and it's so funny because like they're both like laying next to each other, and she's like speaking some like last words, and he's just like, "Don't you get it? The media's gonna fucking love me.
yeah, the doctors are gonna love me. You know,
They're gonna think I'm just insane, and it's gonna be a breeze." But I love this part.
yeah, he's like, they're gonna study me, you know, and then in a couple of years, I'm gonna just get out. And isn't that funny?
Yeah. While he's doing that though, he fucking takes shots at her attire. He said, "Look at you, you thrift store peacoat wearing bitch." Like just straight burying her whole fit, man. And that shit made me laugh. Like there's times where this movie is just like a little funny, and that's just a test of how good like Ted Raimi is as an actor. Because I was legit like, yo, he's just straight shitting on her as she's dying, like getting the last laugh. Literally.
Would you like put it in a dark comedy? Like,
It almost borderlines that. I don't
like a
know
dark
completely.
for sure, slasher. Like, it's definitely
100% a slasher, but definitely
slasher.
some dark comedy elements. Speaking of dark comedies, man, real quick, like not to sidebar too much, but I watched my copy of the new Street Trash.
Oh, okay, good.
Awesome
I'll have to
dark
give it-
comedy done right.
Cool. I'll have to give it a watch.
Yeah. Just since we just mentioned dark comedies, that was one that was dark comedy done right for sure.
Cool. I honestly, I haven't even finished the first Street Trash.
Oh, you got to.
Yeah.
The guy, man, Tony Darrow shows up at the end, and so there's another cameo. Actually, I don't even want to. I'm sorry, I even spoiled Tony Darrow. It's a little cameo, but there's another cameo if you're a Frank Henlotter fan.
All right, cool. I'll watch that.
Yeah,
But,
so you got to finish Street Trash.
But yeah, no, just to wrap up Skinner, man, like, yeah, that's how it ends, you know. Heidi and him are, you know, laying next to each other. They're all fucked up, stab wounds, gunshot wounds, and you know, it's kind of, it's not said that Heidi dies. Dennis definitely doesn't die, but he's also, you know, just kind of like mocking, you know, her hard work of trying to, you know, enact her revenge and saying like, yeah, like this isn't over for me. And this is all a joke. It's all fun and games. I'm going to get out and it's going to be great. And then it ends. And then we got Contagion.
And then we got Contagion. Hate by Contagion.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Dude. What a fucking movie, man. What an underrated gem.
Yeah, for sure, man. Definitely underrated. Definitely not talked about enough. I'm so glad that Severin Films had put it out. I think everybody should go and check this movie out.
Yeah, it's on Tubi
really
right now.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a copy, go stream that shit. I couldn't recommend it enough. I mean, that's why we are talking about it. To get more eyes on it, because this movie needs to be seen by more people. It's not talked about enough.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And especially, you know, because of like all the hard work that had went into like finding this movie, finding the prints, like it deserves its flowers, man, for sure.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Definitely an interesting movie as far as like the production and the people that were behind it, you know. I definitely find Ivan Nagy an interesting individual. You know, I love Ted Raimi in it. Definitely think that he played a really good Dennis Skinner character.
Oh, he was so good. He's my favorite part of this movie.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Me too. You know, great character actor. And the thing that I like about Ted Raimi so much is like he loves being in that world. Like he doesn't want to play it straight. He doesn't want to play a straight character. He wants to play a character, and he loves being in the B movies, man.
Yeah.
You know?
And friend of the show, Dylan Jarvis, and his wife Sierra, they met Ted Raimi, and they said he was cool as shit. And even like after the con, he was like hanging out for a bit, like shooting the shit with them. So like, I definitely want to meet Ted Raimi.
Yeah, me too. Dylan said on our Evil Dead Rise episode, we were just talking about, people that we have met through the conventions, and Dylan had said that is his favorite person that he's met. He's very personable. He's very nice. That's all you can really ask for, when you meet people you admire, man, because you could be severely disappointed sometimes.
Yeah, like everyone that meets Tom Savini.
Yeah, I've
or
heard that.
like Michael Rooker.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Michael Rooker because I did meet him. He was kind of a dick.
Yeah.
Said he wouldn't.
Good actor. Love him in Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, and Slither. But like, yeah, as a person, from what you told me, fuck him.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, dude. So definitely good 1990 sleaze. I can't say that enough, man. Shit. Where do you want to go from here, man? You ready to fucking rate this?
Yeah, I'm ready to rate this.
All right. You go first.
Yeah, Skinner is getting an 8 out of 10 for me. I think like watching this again on a better TV that was 4K, getting to see that 4K upscale and getting to enjoy like the certain camera angles, the lighting, the mood, the atmosphere, the setting, and the fucking score and soundtrack just made me fall in love with this movie. It is very underrated, and people need to seek this out because Ted Raimi gives one hell of a performance. Traci Lord's great. Ricki Lake, she's fine.
Yeah, she was there.
Yeah, she was there. She did her thing. But this is a good one. This is a real good one. Great effects all across the board. 8 out of 10.
Yeah,
love it.
Done very right. For me, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. Pretty much everything that you said as usual, man. I love the music. Love Ted Raimi in it. I think it has some really good atmosphere. It's an eerie, creepy movie at times. Cool effects by K&B. I like the whole backstory behind it. Kind of adds a little bit more for me. Yeah, man, it's a good movie. Definitely underrated, not talked about enough. It was first time viewing for me. I mean, I watched it 3 times since leading up to this, and every time was just great. People need to seek it out, man. Severin Films has this.
Get your copy. It is still available. If not, check it out on Tubi while it's up there. But seek this one out. This is one worth adding to your collection if you collect physical media.
Yeah. For sure. You could probably catch it on a sale. But
yeah,
man.
Speaking of physical media, Nick.
Yeah.
You get anything new lately?
I got a lot of new shit, to be honest with you. So,
me too. I got a couple of titles.
What do you got?
All right. So, I double dipped. Got this on sale from Grindhouse Video Killers, Mike Mendez. I have the German media book, but I wanted the 4K version as well, so I picked that up. Also, Synapse Films put this out, by the way. It's still available. Also from Synapse Films, I got Creature from the Black Lake, Bigfoot horror that I used to have on VHS.
Oh, shit.
That scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. And funny enough, I had bought that VHS copy from my local Rite Aid at the time for like $5.
Nice.
And get this, dude. Dean Cundy does the cinematography on this.
Oh, so it looks beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, this movie's awesome. I'm a big believer in Bigfoot. Love cryptozoology. Give me more Bigfoot horror, please. I couldn't be happier. From Saturn's Core Audio and Video, I have the late 90s shot on video Scarecrow splatter flick Gut Pile. One of the few Saturn's Core slips I was able to acquire because we were just talking about Brian Paulin's Bone Sickness just got put out by Saturn's Core, and I guess there was a limit of 500 slips. I was at a hardcore show when it was announced, missed out on the slip, but I'll probably be picking up the standard edition because we love Brian Paulin, and I'm happy that his films are getting put out by labels like Saturn's Core Audio and Video. Then I got Arrow Video 4K UHD, Lucio Fulci, Don't Torture a Duckling.
I got that too. I recently picked that up.
yeah, I used to have a Blue Underground DVD copy and then just like kept that for a while. But like this one, the release, the slip just stood out to me, and I was like, all right, I need to upgrade. And there's some like good like archival interviews from Lucio Fulci himself on here.
One of the few Fulci giallos that he had done.
Yeah,
not the conventional giallo, black glove killer type stuff, but very good film.
I guess this one of his most beloved films that he's done.
He
very
loves
controversial for its time. One I would love to talk about in the future. And this is like hot off Lizard in a Woman's Skin,
which is another good Lucio Fulci giallo. I enjoyed that one a lot. I own the Umbrella.
Nice. I gotta revisit. I've only seen like some of it.
Vinegar Syndrome, actually. Murder Rock.
Murder Rock is coming out. Yes, mid '80s giallo. Dance studio shit.
It's a Fulci. Yeah.
Fulci
film.
Also, we were just talking about
that's the
new Street Trash. Look at that fucking slip from Vinegar Syndrome.
Nice.
Here's the front, the back, but
that's the new one.
This is the new one, man.
Vinegar Syndrome put out
Vinegar Syndrome. Yes.
Oh,
dude,
cool.
Check it out. And there's like an additional. So there's like a slip within a slip.
Didn't know.
And then like they both have awesome front and back artwork.
Great release.
Dude, this movie, we enjoyed it. We enjoyed it a lot. Same with the coworker that I mentioned before, where he picked up Skinner as I was telling him about it. Like he saw it on like Amazon Video, and I had the copy just because it was a blind buy, man. I mean, this slip is just so fucking awesome.
Yeah, it looks great.
Friend of the show, Jeremy from Epic Film Guys, he praised this movie. He doesn't even really like the original, but he said he loved this. And, we had one hell of a time watching it last weekend. Like, it was awesome. There was one element that I didn't like involving a character, but it's so minor compared to everything else. Because this was a dark comedy, melt film, body horror done right. Like, I think the director is Ryan Krager. I could be wrong. But the director, he did a lot of care. He put a lot of care into like making this movie. It wasn't just a quick cash in on the name. Like it does tie in from, it's not a remake. It ties in to the original in a sense, involving the Viper Venom shit.
Okay.
And then finally, I do like giallo, but I'm not as big as like giallo as you. But I did one of my favorites, Dario Argento's Tenebrae. I did upgrade the 4K UHD Synapse box set. Great release.
Great
giallo. Great giallo. Can't wait to watch this one with Kristen. That fucking one scene with like the axe and dude, the blood sprays. It's just so fucking good, man. Speaking of Argento, she picked up the Suspiria score.
I know. Jealous. I want that.
It's a 6 score.
I have the prog rock one.
Okay.
So it's really good. Yeah, I got that for Christmas.
Yeah, she's been vibing with Argento a lot. I'm more of a Fulci guy, but I do got my love for Argento films. I'm just not as crazy about them as compared to like Fulci,
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I like Argento more, but I do love Fulci for sure.
Yeah.
So
those are my recent pickups. How about you, brother?
So for me, new release wise, I just got a bunch of Vinegar Syndrome shit in, man. I didn't want to miss out on certain slips and stuff. I'm kind of noticing that they're not really carrying so much units anymore when it comes to slips and stuff. So I got Corpse Mania.
Oh shit! So is that slip getting down low?
I don't know. I didn't look. I just bought it. But it might
I want to see that. I saw that trailer and like
it looked fun, right?
Dude, it looks insane. Like, and like category 3, like Hong Kong features, man. Just like, dude, there's like Unearthed films, Untold Story, Men Behind the Sun. That's category 3. Like, dude, those like films, Dr. Lamb. Good shit, dude. Like, I want to watch more category 3 horror. I think I've got like Biozombie from Vinegar Syndrome. That's a category 3.
Yeah,
horror.
I don't own that, but I think you told me to pick that up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got Corpse Mania. I had to pick up Iced, man.
Oh, they already missed out on that, or the slip's already gone for that, huh?
Slip's already gone on that, man.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember where the fuck I heard about this movie. damn, I
I
can't.
remember seeing it at a Monster Mania con, like like the DVD bootleg. Yeah, that's where I remember first seeing it.
Because it's a DeGauser video, so this was definitely straight to video.
Yeah.
I can't remember who the fuck. I heard somebody talking about this film, so it made me want to pick it up. I don't know if it was maybe bad taste or whatever. It might have been the homies, but I also picked up Sliver,
Okay.
which is a erotic thriller starring William Baldwin and Sharon Stone. Takes place in a New York City apartment complex.
Okay.
Seemed pretty interesting. I like a good thriller, right? I like Sharon Stone. Looked pretty good. And then I really wanted to check this out. Was Roman Polanski's The Tenant.
Oh, also by Vinegar Syndrome,
Yeah.
right? Oh, what a fucking unique release.
Right?
Yeah, I like that.
He plays the main character in it, and apparently it's a really good mystery thriller. So it was highly regarded. I mean, Roman Polanski, I mean, he's a great filmmaker, despite his personal life. And then I had to pick up, the new Forgotten Giallo, of course.
What volume is that again?
This is
Volume 8?
This is 8. Yeah, I've never seen any of the flicks in this one. I have 7 coming. 7's already out of print. Can't believe it. I had to buy it secondhand. So this was like the deciding factor for me to buy all of these, because I'm like, all right, if I'm going to buy this, I'm going to make it worthwhile. And then the last thing I have is from a company that I am loving called Celluloid Dreams. And they specialize, as it seems now, in giallo films. So they have a movie that they just put out called The Case of the Bloody Iris.
Yes. Yep.
And then they just came out with Short Night of Glass Dolls, which is supposedly a very creative and shocking giallo. I'm excited to see this. I didn't watch a trailer or nothing. It's a total blind buy for me, but I love what they put out, great slip box for sure.
Yeah, it looks nice and shiny.
Nice and shiny.
Sturdy.
Comes with the booklet, everything like that.
Yep.
But what I really love is they give me a film cell with this release.
Nice.
And they gave lobby cards, but they didn't give like the Arrow Video lobby cards. They gave like full
Holy
size
shit.
lobby cards, man. I haven't opened them yet. There's a couple in here. There's probably like 12. But yeah, this is like full size lobby cards. So fucking cool, man.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
I've never seen lobby cards that fucking big.
That's how they
Oh, that's how they are originally supposed to be?
Yeah. They're
Okay.
not small like what Arrow Video sells or outputs with their limited editions, but that's what I have right now. I mean, we have I know Kristen and I both have waiting on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre fucking vinyl from Second Sight or
Waxwork.
Sight,
Yep.
Waxwork.
And did you get the Edward Scissorhands too? Because she got the repressing.
And I got The Thing as well.
Oh, nice.
So,
Nice.
Yeah, I went all out. But yeah, man, that's all I have as far as new shit. But yeah, man, so this has been fun, man. Skinner was fun talking about it. It's been a good watch. I had fun fucking, going over it with you as usual.
Yeah, this was a great conversation, an underrated gem to cover that hopefully more people check out, because you're right, it deserves its flowers with all the trouble that it's gone through in post-production. Ted Raimi, he's one of a kind.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We love Ted Raimi here. So with all that being said, man, I think it's time for you to take us out and we wrap up this episode.
Yeah, sounds good. So the best way you could support Dead With My Friends podcast is going to our website at www.deadwithmyfriendspodcast.com, where we have the latest episodes, merch drops, previous episodes, any kind of news or future things we have going on. You can find it all there. We are on Spotify, all those kind of podcast platforms. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. Leave us a like. And be on the lookout for future content and merch drops.
Yep, absolutely. So with all that being said, I am Nick.
And I am Steve, and we will see you in the next dimension.
Peace.